one of my biggest rivals in the last 3 years. This is how it went down. So tie number 2, we saw the Chudley Cannons with manager Tupac. Now, after a disgustingly bum-sicking run of form from Tupac, he really needed to shuffle the turd pile this week. And he did this by playing Conversation and Hennessy in nets. He went with a very unusual approach of playing 3 left-backs at his back, sack and crack in Ben Chilwell, Kieran Tierney and Robertson. In midfield, he had Miggy Almiron alongside Yori Tielemans. He had... what is that? That is gross. Oh, that's right. He had Pascal Gross with... that looks like James Madison Square Gardens. Up top, he had Billy Joe Linton, Bobby Firmino, and Sebastian Aller. That looks like a good set of a 3-pronged attack there from the Chudley Cannons. Stone the Crows, 53.25 was his best player in Ben Chilwell. That is a fantastic return. 25.5 from Yuri Tielemans and 17.5 from Madison. Now, those 3 high scores alone beat his opponent's score this week. He could have literally retired and just played 3 players on the Friday night and won his tie. That needs his hats off from Tupac. Pascal Gross, I think he bagged a decent free kick. He got 10 points. And the rest of his team was completely bunk, and he didn't even need to turn up. Bonk, 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 bonk. But at the end of the day, how did the Cannons score overall? They got 150.25 points, mainly from his Leicester contingent. Well played, Tupac.
Afternoon, lads. I'm out here visiting the old pal Lopan. I only went and bumped into Colo FC's boys as well on a piss up on the beach. He is going to go nuts when his lads come back to training. So anyway, let's take this time to have a look at Colo's game week.
And against the Chudley Cannons, we had Colo FC with team manager Rufus from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, aka Colo. Now, what did Colo have up his wizard sleeve to slay the Chudley Cannons? So in nets, he had Ben Fischer. And in front of him, he had Alonso. He had John Egon from Ghostbusters. He had Sidibe from Everton, formerly a reincarnation of the Stoke centre forward. And he done the odd choice of playing 4 at the back, and he had Doherty as his 4th man in defence. In the centre of the park, he had Fraser. He had Højbjerg. He had Mateo Kovacic. And he had Anderson. And up top, he went for the old 4-4-2, old school, not because it's Colo, because he likes the old school. He had Sterling and Wilson construction. So let's see how Colo FC got on. His player of the week was Ben Fischer. That's never good. If Foster, your keeper's pulling the most points, that's not a great start. Sterling pulled in 15.5, probably his best player. Alonso, 12.5 at left back. I can't imagine he's going to be playing much of the season now. Emerson's back. And Doherty, I know he looks in a bad state, but he still pulled in double figures. Unfortunately, the rest of his team was Canny Bonk, Sidibe Bonk, Kovacic Bonk, Egon Bonk, Anderson Bonk, Fraser Bonk, Højbjerg Bonk, and Wilson Bonk, which meant Colo FC only pulled in 91.5 points, which is just not good enough. Which meant the tie between the Chudley Cannons and Colo FC went to the Chudley Cannons. 91.5 points for Colo FC was no good for the 150.25 of the Chudley Cannons. Victory, the Cannons.